Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep today into a story that got me thinking about relationships. You know those moments where things start to feel different?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't put your finger on why.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking at a story about a stepson and his stepdad. The mom's away on a retreat. They're alone in the house.
Okay.
It sounds simple,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more going on.
Interesting.
So right away, we have the stepdad, Michael, making a comment to his stepson about how much he's grown up.
Mm-hmm.
Seems harmless enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the way he says it, there's this underlying tension that changes the whole atmosphere. Like even simple phrases can take on a different meaning depending on the context.
Absolutely. It's like the author's playing with our expectations. We expect a certain level of comfort in families.
Exactly.
That's disrupted here right from the start.
And the stepson picks up on it,
Yeah.
right? He goes from this easy banter to feeling uncomfortable and confused, almost like he's suddenly aware of their dynamic in a way he wasn't before.
Yeah, you can sense him trying to process what just happened, trying to figure out how to navigate this new terrain in their relationship.
And the fact that they're alone in the house, it's like a pressure cooker.
Right. The mom's conveniently out of the picture. It just amplifies that tension.
I was thinking it's almost like that concept of forced intimacy, where they're pushed into a closer proximity than they might normally choose.
Exactly. They can't avoid each other. It forces them to acknowledge this.
There's an elephant in the room.
Yeah. And the story really conveys that awkwardness and unspoken tension so well.
Every interaction, it's like there's all this stuff left unsaid. All these glances and pauses, you can almost hear the questions in the silence.
You know, the silence almost becomes a character in itself,
Right.
representing all that weight, the fear of crossing boundaries.
And then Michael, the stepdad, makes this comment about missing the simplicity of their past relationship. It's subtle,
Right.
but it throws the stepson off balance.
It's like he's testing the waters, seeing how the stepson will react, but he's not being direct. So it just adds another layer to everything. The stepson's left wondering what it all means.
It's almost cruel, isn't it? Like dangling this possibility
Oh, yeah.
without fully committing. It's up to the stepson to figure out what he means.
And the stepson's reaction is so interesting. He wants to pull away, but at the same time, he's relieved that something's finally out in the open.
Right. He's trapped between discomfort and this almost like...
This curiosity.
Yeah. It's like watching a car crash. You can't look away. And I was thinking, is this going to explode? Or will they figure out how to deal with this?
That's good storytelling for you, leaving us hanging like that.
So much tension just hanging there. They know something's up. But where do they go from here?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They have this late night conversation. Everything comes to a head.
That's the part I was waiting for. The air is thick, and Michael finally says, it's time to talk about everything that's changed. It's like he's saying they can't avoid it any longer.
It takes guts to start that kind of conversation, especially when so much is at stake.
Yeah.
And the way he says it, he doesn't try to downplay what might happen. He even says they need to figure out where things are going.
Or where they should end.
Exactly.
He's admitting that things might need to change, that their relationship might never be the same.
That's a lot to take in for both of them.
And this is what allows the stepson to have his own realization. He says that connections change, but it doesn't mean they're bad. He says sometimes connections change, but they don't always have to mean more. Sometimes they just are.
Wow.
It makes you think about how we expect relationships to go a certain way, like towards romance or marriage.
Right. Always trying to fit things into boxes.
But maybe some connections can just exist without labels or needing to move forward in a certain way.
It really challenges those societal expectations, always trying to define things, categorize them.
Right.
But this story says maybe the best way is to acknowledge the change. Set boundaries. Don't try to force things.
It's like they're making a new definition for their bond. But did they actually resolve anything? Did that conversation really clear the air?
It's not a perfect solution, but there is a sense of peace afterward. They talk, they share memories, they even laugh.
So they find closure not by forcing a resolution, but by being honest and respectful.
Yeah.
It feels more realistic than pretending nothing's changed.
It definitely rings true. And after that, the tension starts to fade. Their relationship becomes more stable.
It's not a fairy tale ending,
No.
but it feels authentic. It shows how important open communication is.
Even when it's hard.
Yeah, even when it makes you face uncomfortable truths, it makes you think, what does it even mean for a relationship to be resolved?
Right.
Can boundaries be just as powerful as a traditional ending?
Those are some good questions, and we'll talk about them more in the next part.
But first, let's go back to what we've seen so far. We started with a simple family. then all these unspoken feelings come out.
And we had that crucial conversation.
They had to face that change in their relationship.
And in the end, they found a way forward. Through honesty and accepting things.
It shows that even the toughest relationships can work out if you're open and honest and respect each other's feelings.
And most importantly, maybe the best way for a relationship to grow is to let go of the need to define it. Maybe just being is enough.
That's a deep thought, and one we can all think about. What relationships in your life could use some honesty? What expectations are you holding on to that might be getting in the way?
Good questions to consider as we move to the final part of our deep dive.
You know, it's easy to want a clear ending, especially with stories about relationships. We like things tied up neatly.
Yeah, we want those big moments, those declarations.
Right. But this story shows that real life's not always like that.
It's true. We expect those big answers, but what if the best resolutions are the quiet ones? The ones that happen slowly through understanding.
That's what I liked about this story. It's not about labeling their relationship. It's about seeing how complicated it is.
Right.
And figuring out how to move on, honestly.
That's powerful, especially when there's so much pressure to categorize everything, to fit things into narratives.
Exactly.
This story says, what if the good stuff is in the gray areas?
Yeah. It's saying there's not just one way for a relationship to work out. Maybe it's not about the destination.
Right.
It's about the journey.
Taking the journey together, being open to whatever happens.
And what's amazing is that they actually do find peace. All that tension from the story just goes away.
Yeah.
They find comfort in understanding each other, not in romance.
It's a quiet win, but it's still a win. It shows how fulfilling relationships can be, even if you can't really label them.
The ones that are somewhere between friends and family.
Exactly. So as we finish this deep dive, I wanted to leave you with this. This story changed how I think about relationships. I'm wondering, are there connections in my own life that could use this approach? Am I holding on to labels or expectations that are keeping me from really connecting?
That's a great question for all of us to ask. Maybe the key to better relationships is letting go of how we think things should be.
Yeah, embracing the messiness.
The complicated parts.
And maybe just being is enough.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.